Good morning, everyone. Today is August 12th, 2017. I am Abby Elizabeth, and I have a very important message uh, for Christian women today. I hope that you will not only consider this, but as much as possible, try to alert people that you know as to the danger that is now forming. On October 31st of this year, 2017, uh, the Reformation uh, of the Reformation movement is going to be celebrated as being officially over, and the Protestant churches will be again in union with the Roman Catholic Church. Now, why is this serious? Let's go to Revelation 17. We'll start with verse 1. And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore, which sitteth upon many waters. Now this judgment is in the future. It hasn't happened yet, but it will happen. So in verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. This is a picture, whenever you have a church in prophecy, it is depicted as a woman. When it's a whoring woman, as in this case of Babylon, it's a false church that has been corrupted by fornicating with idolatrous pagan religions. So we can see this as represented primarily, originally, in the Roman Church, as known as centered in the Vatican. So then in verse 3, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, so this is a church sitting upon governments, because whenever in prophecy you have a beast, it's referring to a government. So this global religion that has been assembled under the ecumenical movement rides the world government as represented, as most people can see, as being centered in the United Nations. And then in verse 4, and the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. Now that cup is full of the wine of her fornication, as we see in verse 2. This wine is the doctrines, the false pagan mixture, this false pagan mixture with Christianity that now occupies all institutional churches. And on October 31st, the Vatican will celebrate this reunification of all her children into a global religion. Whenever the Vatican has had political power, it has not been a good thing for people who sought to follow Scripture, who believed in the teachings of Scripture. In the Dark Ages, this sort of political power that the Vatican had was used to prosecute and punish crimes of heresy. This included the heresy of anyone who did not accept her false god called the Trinity. The Trinity is, in fact, an ancient Babylonian family of gods that originally was Baal, Ashtoreth, and Tammuz. This is the satanic imitation of Christianity that has now been enthroned in Christianity. And most people in the churches believe this definition of God to be true. And it is not true. It is utterly and completely false. And not only is it false, but it is, in fact, pagan idolatry and Baal worship. Baal, Ashtoreth, Tammuz. And it sets the stage for most religious people to worship the Antichrist. So how this Antichrist will manifest is as an imitation Christ or a Tammuz character. If you are currently operating under the delusion that God is three and yet one, which doesn't make any logical sense, let alone any scriptural sense. If you're under that delusion, you are primed for worshiping Tammuz, who will be the Antichrist. I really want to warn people that it is very important now to come out of Babylon. Babylon is not, this system, this false religious system, eventually the beast will turn on her, okay, and she will be judged. And you don't want to be in that when that happens. But not only that, she will be judged because she is committing abominations. And those abominations range all the way from worshiping a pagan god, which is, the Trinity, to all forms of witchcraft and New Age idolatries and practices. So it's time to come out. There's no time left to really even think about this anymore. Because if you are in that, you will be judged by God for that. Also, I issue this warning to people who have come out or will come out, that there is going to be a great time now of suffering for people who truly follow Scripture and worship Jesus Christ in righteousness in church. And righteousness, sorry, I speak English, righteousness and truth. So it's important to prepare your heart for that. I hope that you take this message seriously. I know I'm not the best speaker, but I still hope that you can hear what I have to say today and what the Lord gave me to say to you today.